Everyone kept yelling at the boy to run, because a wounded fox was dying behind the shed, and the creature stalking toward him wasn't a fox at all. But then a quiet stranger stepped into the yard. She didn't shout. She didn't flinch. She just knelt beside the bleeding fox. And the impossible happened. The terrified animal crawled straight into her arms, while a massive scarred dog limped out of the shadows, choosing her too. And when her hidden badge slipped from her jacket, the entire crowd realized they weren't watching a rescue. They were watching a legend return. Liam froze mid-step. He turned slowly toward the old tool shed near the fence, its wooden boards warped with age and shadows pooling beneath it. The sound came again. A whimper, not a kitten, not a dog. Something wilder and hurt. He stepped closer, heart thudding, the gravel crunching under his boots. "Hello?" he whispered, his voice trembling slightly. No answer, only another broken cry. He crouched, lowering himself near the back of the shed, and that's when he saw it. A fox. A young one, barely grown. Its fur, normally bright and fiery, was matted with mud and streaked with blood. One hind leg twisted at a terrible angle. Its side rose and fell in fast, shallow breaths. Its eyes were glassy with terror and exhaustion. Liam's stomach clenched. "Oh no, you're just a baby." The fox tried to back deeper into the shadows, but collapsed with a soft, pitiful squeal. Before he could move closer, voices echoed across the yard. 2 farmhands rushed over, alarmed by Liam's shout. "Kid, step away from it," one barked, grabbing Liam's shoulder. "Foxes bite when they're hurt, or—" "You want rabies?" Liam shook him off. "He's dying. We have to help him." The older hand snorted. "Help it? It's a wild animal. Leave it. It'll crawl off somewhere and nature'll take its course." A woman from across the fence chimed in, phone already out to record. "Don't touch it, boy. They lure dogs and kids. Might be diseased." More neighbors emerged, murmuring fearfully, some backing away, others filming. Liam looked at the fox, shaking, bleeding, barely conscious, and something inside him hardened. "I'm not leaving him." Someone scoffed loudly. "Oh, great. Another kid trying to be a hero." A man muttered, "Shoot it. End its suffering." "No," Liam snapped, stepping in front of the fox. The crowd grew louder, arguing, warning, complaining. Fear always sounded stronger than compassion. But then the air shifted. A cold wind swept through the yard, stirring dust and straw. Somewhere behind the goat pen, a gate clicked open. A figure walked in. A woman, not a farmer, not someone from the village, someone no one recognized. Her jeans were dusted with dried soil, her boots worn from long miles. A faded forest green jacket clung to her like armor. Her blonde hair was tied back in a loose knot, and her eyes, sharp, steady, unreadable, went straight to the shed. She didn't hurry. She didn't speak. She just walked with a quiet purpose that silenced the entire yard. Liam stared. Something about her presence felt heavy, like she'd walked through storms the rest of them only read about. The older farmhand frowned. Can we help you, ma'am?" She didn't answer. She stopped beside Liam, her gaze fixed on the wounded fox. For the first time, emotion flickered in her eyes, something soft, painful, familiar. "Step back just a little," she murmured. Her voice was gentle, but unshakably confident, like someone who didn't guess, didn't hope. Someone who knew. Liam obeyed immediately. The crowd didn't. A man scoffed. "Who even are you? That thing's dangerous. Don't touch it." Another woman raised her phone higher. "Lady, please, professionals only." Still, the stranger knelt beside the fox with slow, controlled grace, her hand hovering just above its trembling head, offering presence, not pressure. The fox didn't recoil, didn't growl, didn't snap. Instead, it reached. It dragged its tiny body forward an inch and pressed its nose weakly against the woman's glove. A collective gasp rippled across the yard. "Wild foxes don't do that," someone whispered. "Why is it going to her?" another murmured. The woman inhaled, a quiet breath that carried more emotion than she allowed to show. She gently examined the fox's leg, then the wound on its side. Liam whispered, "Is he going to make it?" She hesitated. "Only if we move quickly." People mocked instantly. "Oh, sure, she's some fox whisperer." "Back off, lady. You're making it worse." "Where's your authority? Your ID? You don't look official." But she didn't acknowledge any of them. As she shifted the fox to assess its injuries, the strap of her jacket slid, revealing a flash of metal beneath the fabric. A badge, worn, scratched, but unmistakable. Liam's breath caught. Someone gasped. "Is that a wildlife emergency badge?" The man who mocked her stumbled backward, face paling. "Wait, is she with the rescue units?" She said nothing. Not yet. The fox whimpered, pressing its face into her jacket, as if it already knew her, trusted her, more than anyone else present. But before she could lift the animal, a distant sound echoed from behind the barn. A snap. Another snap. Heavy steps crushed dry branches. Something large was moving. Fast. The woman stiffened. Everyone froze. Liam whispered, "What is that?" She didn't answer. Her hand tightened protectively around the fox, shielding it with her body. The crowd fell silent. The air thickened. Footsteps grew louder, deliberate, weighty, coming straight toward them. A woman shrieked, "It's the adult! The mother fox!" People panicked instantly, stumbling, backing away, shouting. But the stranger didn't move. She stayed kneeling, calm, focused, fearless. She looked toward the sound with steady eyes, as if she'd confronted far worse in her life. Liam whispered, "What do we do?" She replied softly, "Stay behind me, and don't run." The snapping drew closer. The barn door creaked. The shadows shifted. Something large, larger than a fox, stepped into view. Liam's breath stopped, and the woman's expression changed completely, sharpening like a blade. Whatever was coming was not a fox, and it was coming for them. The creature stepped out from behind the barn, and for a heartbeat, no one breathed. It wasn't a fox at all. A massive stray dog, scarred, ragged, ribs showing beneath mangled fur, limped into the yard. Its eyes were wild, starving, desperate. A chain hung broken around its neck, dragging across the dirt with a harsh metallic scrape. Someone screamed. Someone else shouted, "It's dangerous! Run!" People scattered in every direction. But the woman didn't even flinch. She stood slowly, still cradling the injured fox in her arms, and positioned herself between the dog and the boy. Her voice dropped to a whisper no one else would have dared use. "Easy. You're not here to hurt anyone, are you?" The dog's lips curled, but its body trembled with exhaustion. It wasn't hunting. It was looking for help, and didn't know how to ask. Liam tugged her sleeve. "He's scared, just like the fox." "I know," she said quietly. "That's why running is the worst thing they can do." The dog lunged a single step forward, snarling, not at her, but at the panicked people who were still shouting, still filming, still making everything worse. She raised her free hand calmly. Hey, look at me." The dog did, and for one long, fragile moment, The chaos around them faded, its wild gaze locked on her steady one. No fear, no challenge. Just a silent understanding that broke whatever storm the dog carried inside. She stepped closer. Liam grabbed her arm in panic. "Don't. You'll get hurt." She gave him a small, gentle look. "Trust me." She moved with deliberate slowness, lowering the fox to her chest with one arm while offering her other hand to the dog. The animal quivered, torn between instinct and something it hadn't felt in years. Safety. "Who did this to you?" she whispered. The broken chain clinked as the dog inched closer, then rested its head against her palm, trembling like a creature finally letting go of fear. The yard fell completely silent. Even the farmhand who'd mocked her earlier stood frozen, mouth hanging open. She checked the dog's wounds with heartbreaking tenderness. "He's been abused and abandoned. He's not here to attack anyone. He followed the smell of the fox's blood because he was looking for help." Liam whispered, "You can save them both." She looked at him, really looked, and for the first time, the hard edges of her expression softened. "I can try, with your help." The boy straightened instantly. "Tell me what to do." She lifted the fox again and nodded toward the barn. "I need warm towels, a clean board to carry him, and a bowl of water for the dog. And hurry." Liam ran faster than he'd ever run in his life. Within minutes, he returned, arms full. She worked quickly, wrapping the fox, checking its heartbeat, stabilizing its leg. Her movements were precise but gentle, like someone who'd done this 1,000 times. Someone finally asked, voice trembling, "Who exactly are you?" She hesitated. For the first time since arriving, she reached into her jacket and pulled the badge fully into view. The crowd leaned in. Wildlife Emergency Response Unit, Delta Field Specialist. Her name engraved beneath it. Claire Rowan. A murmur swept through the yard. "She retired years ago. I heard she vanished after that river rescue." "No way! That can't be her!" But Claire ignored the whispers. She was too focused on the fox. When she stood, the dog pressed against her leg protectively, as if choosing her the same way the fox had. Liam stared in awe. "They trust you. Both of them." Claire looked down at the fox curled against her chest, then at the broken dog leaning on her side. "They don't trust me," she said softly. "They trust kindness. I'm just giving them what someone once gave me." A truck rumbled into the yard, the local wildlife transport unit responding to Liam's earlier call. When the officers stepped out and saw Claire, they froze. "Claire Rowan. Ma'am, is that really you?" She handed them the fox, her movements slow and tender. "He'll need orthopedic care and antibiotics. And treat the dog gently. He's suffered enough." The officers nodded without argument. As they loaded the animals, the farm hands, the neighbors, even the loud skeptics from minutes earlier, all watched her with the stunned silence reserved for legends. Liam approached her hesitantly. "Will you be staying in Briarstone?" She gave him a tired but genuine smile. "Only long enough to make sure they survive." He swallowed hard. I want to be like you when I grow up." Claire knelt, placing a hand on his shoulder with quiet pride. "Then promise me something. When the world tells you to fear something small and wounded, be the one who listens instead." "I promise," he whispered. She rose, dusted off her jacket, and followed the officers toward the truck. The dog glanced back at her, tail twitching weakly. Liam watched her go, knowing he hadn't just seen a rescue, he had witnessed a return, and Briarstone Edge would remember the name Claire Rowan for a very, very long time.